Hello and welcome to News in Depth. Coming up this week in an election special. The Prime Minister's gamble backfires as the Conservative Party loses its parliamentary majority. But Theresa May says she has support from Northern Ireland's DUP and will form a new government.
We will fulfil the promise of Brexit together and, over the next 5 years, build a country in which no one and no community is left behind.
Thank you. Hi.
Meanwhile, Jeremy Corbyn defies the polls to restore the Labour Party as a serious electoral force. He's been credited with rallying young voters who are thought to have played a key role in the shock result of the 2017 general election.
Politics has changed, and politics isn't going back into the box where it was before, because what's happened is people have said they've had quite enough.
More than 33 million people turned out to vote in the general election. But the result has turned British politics upside down.
It will be a choice between strong and stable leadership, strong and stable government for Britain. Thank you.
Prime Minister Theresa May unexpectedly called a snap election back in April, 3 years before it was due, something she didn't need to do. The Conservative leader said she wanted to get a bigger mandate in order to boost her authority during Brexit talks with the EU.
Every vote for the Conservatives will make me stronger when I negotiate for Britain with the Prime Ministers, Presidents and Chancellors of the European Union.
But instead of bringing strong and stable leadership to the country, Theresa May is facing calls to stand down as PM. Her party lost 13 seats and the majority in the House of Commons.
I had wanted to achieve a larger majority, but that was not the result that we secured. And I'm sorry for all those candidates and hard-working party workers who weren't successful, but also particularly sorry for those colleagues who were MPs and ministers who'd contributed so much to our country and who lost their seats and didn't deserve to lose their seats.
The result we were left with on June the 9th was a hung parliament. And many party leaders think it will now be impossible for Mrs May to govern successfully.
The Prime Minister called the election because she wanted a mandate. Well, the mandate she's got is lost Conservative seats, lost votes, lost support and lost confidence.
Theresa May promised strong and stable leadership. She has brought weakness and uncertainty. If she has an ounce of self-respect, she will resign.
They were so arrogant that they thought they could do anything and simply get away with it. And now they're planning to cobble together an unstable administration, causing yet more damaging uncertainty.
Here's where we officially stand in the Commons now that all votes have been counted. The bare minimum of seats the Tories needed for that all-important majority was 326. But they won 318, leaving them as a minority government. Labour had a far better night than many people predicted, ending up with 262 members of Parliament. The Scottish National Party suffered major losses and were left with just 35 seats, losing 21 in total. Meanwhile, the Liberal Democrats made modest gains, securing 12 MPs, up 4 from the 2015 election. And the party who largely led us to Brexit, the UK Independence Party, failed to win a single seat and their leader quickly resigned. But of the other parties, Northern Ireland's Democratic Unionist Party, or the DUP, has emerged as critical in this election. That's because the Conservatives are trying to get their support to form a new government. The backing of their 10 MPs will give the Tories the majority they so badly need. But the move has sparked protests, largely due to the DUP's controversial views on issues like same-sex marriage, abortion and climate change. If the DUP do prop up the Conservatives in government, the Tory vision of a hard Brexit becomes significantly less likely. Their party leader, Arlene Foster, says she wants a more workable plan and is keen to avoid a controlled border with Ireland. This could mean that membership of the single market, customs union, and therefore the UK's position on free movement are once again unclear, just days before EU negotiations were due to begin. Brought about largely because of the outcome of last year's referendum and the vote for Brexit, this election was expected to be fought on issues around Britain's exit from the EU. But domestic policies such as the future of the NHS, public spending and social care became the focus of the electorate. And commentators say Tory plans for a so-called dementia tax alienated their core support. Jeremy Corbyn's campaign to end austerity proved popular, and he increased Labour's share of the vote more than any leader since 1945.
Incredible result for the Labour Party because people voted for hope. Young people and old people all came together yesterday. Very high turnout, huge increase in the Labour vote, and they did it because they want to see things done differently and they want hope in their lives.
There are indications that voter turnout for 18 to 24-year-olds shot up, energised by Mr Corbyn's campaign. And his party's pledge to scrap university tuition fees is said to have won over thousands of students. The coming together of the Labour leader and grime artists also encouraged young people to back his bid for number 10.
This government's proposing to reduce it further and actually hand roughly £60 billion over to corporations.
This spoof video of a Stormzy hit helped spread the word on social media.
I know so many other people who are not Labour members, who have maybe not voted Labour before, but are doing it because of Corbyn. It's not, despite of him that this is happening. It's because of Corbyn. It's because of his left-wing message.
I think a lot of young people maybe have felt betrayed with the referendum result. There was a real sense of a generational divide, and you could just feel something change in the air in the last couple of weeks.
Now let's get to work.
Theresa May has lost her gamble of racing to the polls, but she's keeping her job, for now at least. A general election that was called to bring stability has instead led to chaos. So while this vote may be over, the latest chapter in Britain's extraordinary political drama has only just begun. That's all for now. I'll be back with more news in depth next week. See you then.